What is going on, boys? Welcome back to another video, and today we're going to be talking about the foraging update. As you can see, I am on 1.21.5 on the alpha server on Galatea. And today we're going to be talking about everything to do with the new update, hopefully in a concise, easily digestible way, because I have been playing the update a decent amount, probably, I don't know, 6 to 8 hours, maybe even more. I have obtained global ranking #1 at Skyblock XP, even though it doesn't matter, but I've still finally done it, at least on the alpha. So we're going to be going over all the new systems, hopefully, so that you guys are not walking into the update blind, running around having no clue what to do. As always, this is on alpha, so things are subject to change. Please keep that in mind. When changes happen, I will be adding corrections in the description, or when we find out new information about stuff that I don't know 100% of what it is yet. For example, there's an item called the flex bone. People don't know how to get the flex bone, or there's speculation on how you get it, but it is currently disabled on alpha. So when that is confirmed, or when the new shiniest item is confirmed, any of that can be found in the description. If there is something that I am just wrong about in this video, and you know that I'm wrong, please nicely correct me in the comments, and I will also add that correction to the description. So without further ado, let's get into the video. Before we get into it, boys, I do want to ask you guys to please scroll down and subscribe. We are going for 50,000 subscribers. Obviously, the main goal is 100,000. We're taking it one step at a time. And the more of you that subscribe, the better chance I have of getting a code on the Hypixel store. So please subscribe. Anyways, let's get into it. So when you are first booting up alpha, be sure to boot up on 1.21.5. If you boot up on 1.8.9 and wait for the 2,000 player queue and get all the way over here, getting ready to go to Galatea, it won't allow you. This island is 1.21.5 or 1.21 only. I would recommend 1.21.4. I actually believe the alpha server recommends 1.21.5. I would just use the latest version. It's the easiest. I'm actually currently on Badline client. I didn't bother setting up the new 1.21 mods, at least until a lot of the stuff gets ported over to the new versions from stuff like Skyhanny and other mods of that sort. But basically, you're just going to head over to the park. You're going to have to do the new lumberjack quest, which is just going to be mining all the trees down. If you have a tree capitator, it should be easy, because one thing you will notice, the tree capitator no longer has a cooldown. Oh, isn't that cool? It also has a bunch of new stats, which I will be explaining in a little bit. In order to get onto the new island, the only requirement you have to have is foraging level 12, and then you take the warp pad over. For those of you curious, if I had to guess, the reason why the foraging level 12 is required is because you are required to have mining level 12 in order to enter the dwarven mines. I would treat Galatea similar to the way that dwarven is treated in mining progression, as in is the beginner of the expanding of the skill. So the park is kind of like deep caverns, and Galatea is kind of like dwarven mines. We will have a second, maybe even a third island to go along later with this update, with a lot more of the meat and the potatoes. The first NPC you will run into is Hina. Hina will introduce you to the heart of the forest, which if you type /HOTF, is very similar to the heart of the mountain, except for foraging. A little later in the video, I'm going to go over the different perks and what the best perks are, or what they are presumed to be, because obviously I'm not grinding to Heart of the Mountain or Heart of the Forest tier 7 on alpha, but I have gotten to Heart of the Forest tier 3 and halfway to tier 4, so I've done a decent amount of the grinding. You are then going to walk through this gate, head over to the right, and talk to Swoop. Swoop is very important. He's going to teach you how you chop trees down in Galatea. So you're going to come over here, you're going to chop this tree down with whatever axe you have. The kind of axe doesn't really matter. I would recommend a tree capitator just because most people have a tree capitator. It's a very good axe. It's probably the second best axe in this update, at least from the information that I have about the update. But the cool thing about Swoop is he'll explain to you all the different things that come with chopping down these trees. And he actually gives you a lot of useful information, such as the fact that axes can now be thrown on Galatea. However, throwing your axe reduces the amount of logs you obtain by half, so you only want to throw it when needed. So for example, if I were to mine and it were to remove that many blocks, if I were to throw it, it would remove about half as many, but it's very useful for being able to get the branches down of these trees. There are also 3 new stats associated with trees, such as sweep, toughness, and style. Sweep increases the amount of logs that you can cut in a row with your axes. It is very important. If there's one thing you take away from this video, it is that sweep is the most important stat for foraging now. It is basically like efficient miner, except efficient miner wasn't really a stat when it came out. I guess it kind of is now. Is so important. Tree toughness heavily reduces the effectiveness of sweep, again, Everything goes back to Sweep, and every tree has a different style. Cutting logs of a tree in the wrong order will also reduce the amount of logs you obtain by half. This means that there are 2 different trees on this island that you can chop down: fig trees and mangrove trees. For fig trees, the style of cutting it would be mining the trunk first and then the branches after. For mangrove trees, you would want to start with the branches first and then move on to the trunk roots. If you do it in the opposite order, you will mine incredibly slowly. There are also these things called tree gifts. Tree gifts are basically rewards after fully chopping down 100% of the tree. As long as you participate in chopping down a tree, you will obtain rewards from the tree gift. You only have to mine down 10% of the tree to get the tree gift, 20% to get 50% more rewards, and 33% to get double rewards. So if you wanted to be maximum efficiency, you would have 3 people all mining down 33% to get the rewards. And then it talks about berries, and berries can be found by just right-clicking on bushes around Galatea to get Lumisquids collection, I think it's called. But as you can see here, every time you mine down a tree, you'll have this little tree gift in chat, and it'll show you that you will get Forest Essence, which can be redeemed in the Forest Essence shop, Foraging Experience, which is a very solid amount of Foraging Experience, Heart of the Forest Experience, and Tender Wood is the bonus for mining down fig trees. These are what the bushes look like if you just want to right-click and claim the berries, and you can get Lumisquids collection. Other mobs like this I think they're called Barris, can also spawn when claiming berries off of bushes. All you have to do is throw a fishing net at it to claim it. But we will get into hunting in a little bit. After talking to Swoop, you're going to come over here and you're going to talk to David Hunterborough. Now he's going to send you on like a crazy quest to get all the things you need for hunting, including talking to Albert to get the small pocket black hole, talking to Amari to get the decent axes, as well as the actual foraging set, which is really, really good because of the sweep. So you should be buying this set and using this set. You're also going to have to talk to Odin at some point, which is just to the right of David Hunterborough, and he'll explain how to use the black hole, how combat hunting works, etc., etc. Eventually, you will get all the way through his quest line and you will obtain yourself David's Cloak. David's Cloak is going to be the best in-slot cloak for foraging, as well, probably, I would assume, for Magic Find. I mean, I was thinking it would be like Rift Necklace, like the Magic Find would just keep going up and up and up. It hasn't done that. The Magic Find has actually stayed at +2 for each rarity, but it still seems like a very good cloak. And there's a lot of things that David Hunterborough can show you even after you're done with the tutorial. He shows you all the creatures that can be caught with black holes, all dropping different shards. Shards are just the new name for attributes, like attribute shards. They're just called shards now. It's not that deep. There are also 3 different hunting tools that you can use to hunt different things. Usually in combat areas, you're going to use something called a hunting axe. In fishing areas, you're going to use something called fishing nets, and in forest areas or any other kind of areas like that, you're going to use lassos. You can also click on it to show all the different things that you can lasso down, such as Cinderbats in the Crimson Isle, XYZ in the Crimson Isle, Dreadwings, pests. Although on Alpha, the lasso is disabled in the garden, so I'm not really sure how to do pests, but I assume it won't be disabled on release. Fishing nets to catch all of the new fishing mobs, and hunting axes to catch all of these new, or not new, older mobs as well. Not all mobs can be caught, but most of them can. There are also such things as traps, which basically all they are is they're like kind of like the mouse trap in the garden, except you just place them around Galatea. After a certain amount of time, they'll catch a mob, and then you just redeem the mob and are able to get its shard. And then salts. And all salts are is you take the berries from the berry bushes from the Lumisquids collection, you craft one of these, like the ocean candy or the Lumisquids bonbon, you eat it, and then when you kill a mob, like not hunt it, but when you kill it, you have a chance to get the shard. As always, you can revisit the different hunting lessons that you did originally in his little tutorial, but the most important part of this menu is David's Cloak. David's Cloak has 7 areas where you can improve and get more stats. For every single unique attribute that you have in your menu, you get a certain amount of sweep, as well as hunting wisdom and foraging wisdom. Remember how I said that sweep is the most important stat in this update? Yeah, this is the most important thing to do. So when you get on and you are redeeming attributes, you want to try to get as many unique attributes as possible. And I know that sounds a little bit confusing. I haven't really talked about that yet, and we'll get to that in a little bit. But just keep in mind that you want as many unique attributes as possible. Along with that, when you get more unique attributes, you level up your Syphon Luck, which I can explain in a little bit. The more combat hunts that you complete, you will get more strength. The more water hunts you complete, you will get more health. The more forest hunts you will complete, you get more foraging fortune. The more trap hunts you complete, you get hunting XP, and the more salt hunts you get, you'll get also hunting XP. So that's a lot, and that's a lot of new systems that you probably don't understand, so we're going to get a little bit more into it. Basically, what's going to happen is when you log onto the server after this update comes out, or if you log on to alpha and you have an item that has attributes on it, it's going to have the attributes and they're going to be crossed off. You're going to take that item, whatever it is, you're going to come over to salvage old attributes, or you can also get to this menu from /am attribute menu and click attribute transfer. And you're going to click on this and you're going to click the anvil and it's going to give you attributes in chat. It's going to take it off of the armor and give it to you. Basically, all these different shards, now they're called, will go to your hunting box, which you can access from /hunting box, or you can click on skills and go to hunting. When you go to your hunting box, it will show you all available shards that you have. It'll show you how many of the shards you have, how many you need to quote-unquote siphon to level up that shard or that attribute on your account, and whether or not you have the attribute max. So for example, you can also do this thing called mass siphoning. I have 8 shards across 4 different attributes that are not maxed out yet. If I want to siphon them all, I can. Or if I just want to do them one by one, I can just click on it. As the attributes level up, it'll say it in chat, and you'll get Skyblock XP for it. And then if you were to go to /attribute menu again, it will show you all your different attributes that you have enabled, except mine are being filtered. So these are all the different attributes that I have, and I'm actually going to link a Google spreadsheet down in the description that is a list of all the new attributes that are coming out with the update. Because not only are there old attributes that you can now apply to your account, but there's a ton of attributes, especially ones that I haven't even claimed yet because I haven't been able to, or I haven't taken the time to do it. And they do so many different things, such as like extra chance of finding rare books in super pairs. There's one that when you eat cookies, you get more bits up front. Pressure resistance, which is a new stat. More dragon essence. There's just more respiration. There's so many attributes. There's 7 pages and 6. So that's like over 100 new sets of attributes. I bet you're wondering, how do you get these attributes? Well, you get them by hunting different mobs, but you can also get them from attribute fusion. When you claim all the attributes off your armor, odds are you're going to have more shards of a certain type than you're going to need. You can either claim these shards, like take them out of your menu or take them out of your hunting box, like so, like if I were to take this out and go and sell it. I believe they can be sold on the bazaar. Yes, so you can sell them on the bazaar. Or if you have these bonus attributes, you can combine them with other ones to get new kinds of attributes. And this is a lot. This is very confusing. It's a very complicated system and it's hard to explain. And I'm not going to get into specifics, but just try to follow with me. If you're ever confused about how to make an attribute, you can also just go to the menu, hover over it, and it'll tell you exactly how you can hunt it or create it. So for example, if I were to go to Decent Karma, say I wanted the Newt Shard. The way I get the Newt Shard is I can't actually hunt it, but I can hunt the axolotl family and then combine it with a water category shard. And you can't actually filter by water category, but most of these fishing ones are water category. Like Lord Jabus is a fishing mob. Salmon is a fishing mob. Axolotl is a fishing mob. Sea Archer is a fishing mob. So you can't actually filter by a water category, but it does make sense. So if I wanted to get that shard, that Decent Karma shard, I would have to use an axolotl with any of these other ones. Or I could combine axolotl shards with themselves and then get that new shard. I hope that makes sense. That is a very surface level explanation, but if I were to get any more deeper into it, it'd probably be very confusing. Just know that old attributes are going to be converted to new shards. You can claim those shards onto your account for permanent stat boosts. These stat boosts are also always active unless you turn them off, so you can toggle them off if you really want. And they are all active at the same time. There's no speccing into a certain thing. You can have them all active at the same time and just be massively buffed by these new shards. For those of you that are worried about your Godrolls, you're like, what's going to happen to Godrolls? I don't know what's going to, like, what's the new system? Basically what's going to happen is when you salvage a Godroll, and this is what is considered a Godroll is considered by admin. So like veteran magic find on Crimson is going to be a Godroll, but NPMR on Crimson isn't. NPMR on Aurora would be considered a Godroll. Speed dominance on a Gauntlet of Contagion is considered a Godroll. So it's really what admins decide. NPMR on Hollow isn't considered Godroll. You'll get these things called Anake feathers. And basically, these things are nuts. These things are disgusting. You consume this feather to grant yourself progress in RNG meter of your choice. When I was testing this, if I were to go over to a handle and I were to claim it, I just got 3% for that handle. 3%. That's disgusting. That's only 33 feathers, and I get a guaranteed handle. Now, this isn't going to kill the price of handles. It's not going to kill the price of, of alloys. It's not going to kill the price of any of the dyes, but these things are disgusting. And I do think that they have overcompensated for the Godrolls of what they said they were going to do. I don't really know how to balance these things. I don't know if these things are good or if they are well balanced. The only thing I would say, probably don't spam use these when the update drops. Because if you do, you're going to, everybody's going to kill the price of everything, and then the price of these are going to skyrocket. How high will they get? I don't know. I still don't know if they're obtainable from Kudra. I believe they are. Okay, that was a lot. Let's get into the useful NPCs of the update, because after this point, you kind of just go around and talk to the NPCs and try to figure out what the island is all about. Now, we've already talked about a lot of them. David Hunterborough is very useful. Swoop is very useful. Odin explains the tutorial of how to hunt combat mobs. Albert is where you purchase and upgrade pocket black holes. Amari is where you purchase the starter set, which you should be purchasing. There is also a banker here if you really need that. Continuing down this way, you can also find Alan. Alan will sell you the sharpened hunt axe, which is what you use to hunt down combat mobs, and it's actually a really cool system. So the first thing that I compared this to on stream was I compared this to being false swipe. Because if you're using this axe to kill a mob, it will always leave it on 1 HP. You can't actually kill the mob with this axe. When it's on 1 HP, you can capture it with your pocket black hole, and that will allow you to obtain the shard from that mob. So this is like false swipe, this is like a Pokeball. Continuing down this bridge, you will also make your way over to Teddy. Teddy is a very cool NPC and also a very information-heavy NPC because he will actually show you exactly how to hunt all of the new water mobs. So you've done combat hunts. Here is where you're going to use the basic fishing net to hunt these different mobs. One thing I also wanted to mention before I forget, over by David Hunterborough, you can buy something called the hunting toolkit. It is such a cool item. If you have a hunting toolkit and you shift right click on it, you can put all of the different items related to hunting within the toolkit and then just swap between them. Like, here's my axe, here's my lasso, here's my net, here's my trap. It's awesome. Anyways, back over to Teddy. So Teddy, for 10k coins, he's going to explain to you how to catch each of these mobs. You only have to pay the 10k once. A lot of these mobs are really easy to hunt, but we will be going over them one by one. So frogs, if you jump down, can be found within the pond, either swimming around or on the outside on the bridges. All you have to do is punch the frog or click on it, and he will eventually jump. He jumps 4 times before he eventually ends up getting tired, and you will get the shard of Mossy Bit. The next mob he will talk about are mudworms. Mudworms can be found as these little white worms in the grass sometimes. They're not always going to be mudworms. Sometimes, oh, I did get a mudworm shard, but sometimes they'll just reward you with mangrove logs or fig logs. And if I haven't mentioned it already, this is what a mangrove tree looks like. This is what a fig tree looks like. Fig trees are up on a higher plane of elevation. Mangrove trees are just above the swamp. The next mob he will tell you about is the axolotl. The axolotls are really annoying to hunt. Basically, you head down into the swamp. You find them right here. If they have that red exclamation point above their head, it means you have to stop moving. If you keep moving, you will scare them. If you try to catch them when they have the exclamation point, they'll actually disappear and you won't get the shard. Eventually it will turn yellow and then it'll leave. Then you can throw the net at it and you can catch the Coralot shard. But if I were to try to find another one right here, and I were to wait for the exclamation point to go away, and then I were to move again, the exclamation point comes back. They've actually introduced a new enchant into the game, which is super cool, which is called Stealth. It can be dropped from some of the stray mobs, like the new stray mobs, or it can also be crafted from the Mangrove collection. Wearing this, it causes timid creatures that normally flee to remain still, which is super, super nice. I haven't actually seen any other timid creatures. I assume the only one is the axolotl, and just like that, it got scared. The next creature is cod. It's very simple. Cod can be found in this great reef, along with salmon. As long as you're able to hit cod with the net, you're just going to keep spamming the net. Eventually, the cod will keep spinning. When it is at 100% spin, you will get the shard. Salmon are very similar, you just keep spamming the salmon. The salmon are very fast, the more you spam them, the slower they get, and the higher chance you have to capture them. And after hitting them a certain amount of times, you will get the shard of salmon. The next mob is the panda, and he doesn't actually explain where you're supposed to find the pandas, but all you have to do is feed them bamboo. I know, super cool. The panda area can actually be found on either side of the far mountain underneath these waterfalls. So there's an entrance at -716, 93, -13, and -713, 93, 28. You will see these little bamboo shards, and you'll come into this little crevice, and you'll see these baby pandas. All you have to do is mine up, it's somewhere around like 40 bamboo, come over to a panda, start feeding it, it'll get all big and fat, and eventually it will get so big that it gives you the shard, because it ate too much and passed out. Next, he will explain how to catch shulkers. Shulkers, I thought for the longest time, were actually bugged. Turns out they're not bugged, they're just a little weird to work with. So running around Galatea, sometimes you'll find like these leaf boxes which do look like shulkers. But when I first found these things, I couldn't figure out how to get them to open. I thought they were bugged, I thought they were disabled. I don't know if they're always in the same spot or if they generally have different spots, but I know that they can't just like randomly be popping around. All you have to do to defeat them is just shoot the ball that comes after you right back at them. How you actually get them to pop out is you shift, hover over them a little bit, then they'll open up and fire at you. I've learned that it's easier the further away you stand from them to be able to hit the ball back so that it's not flying super high and missing or going super low and too far where you can't hit it. So I actually shot that over his head. As long as you're able to hit it back to him 3 times, you will actually get the shard. So I was able to successfully do it this time. He lost the fight, and I will get the hidden leaf shard. The next mob is the Lumisquid, and honestly, I don't really know where to find them. I assume you find them underneath. I have never been able to find any of these squids, but all you have to do is just throw the net at them. It'll teleport a little bit away into another area, and then you just keep doing that until you catch it. Unfortunately, I can't add any more than that because I've never found one of these guys. The next mob is the joydive. It is the dolphin. I've also never actually went out of my way and caught a joydive because I don't have the higher tier fishing net, and I can't actually get the higher tier fishing net due to the fact that flex bones, one of the items in the crafting recipe, it's unobtainable right now in alpha. But the other 2 mobs would be the shellwise, which is just this big turtle which takes forever to kill down or to get his health down, and you'll eventually get his shard. And then also these spikes, which require a higher level of a hunting net with longer range, because if you swim far enough away, they'll get small to the point where you can capture them. And if you swim too close, they will get big. If you touch them, they'll poison you, but they will be immune. The other cool thing about the hunting system that I haven't mentioned up until this point is there is always loot share. So say we're both killing the shellwise, well, it would kind of suck if the person who got the last hit ended up getting the shard, and the person who helped get it all the way down doesn't get anything. But they thought of that, and they did add loot share. Like so, I received 3 shellwise shards for assisting in killing the shellwise, or hunting the shellwise. And the last mob is called the Invisibug. I've only ever seen these on trees, and I didn't actually see it. I've only ever accidentally caught one of these, and it was when I was chopping down a tree. Apparently, if you talk to him about it, he will say that they're almost impossible to see, but they kind of glow on trees. And I'm pretty sure they're caught with a lasso. Yeah, okay, they are caught with a lasso. The only other mobs that can be found in these forests are these fanfires, which are super annoying, which are caught with lassos, and they will spawn from mining down trees, as well as the dreadwings, which are just basically massive fanfires. Also, here's a tip. I'm pretty sure buy Orion, this guy, where you get the original lasso. Oh, I accidentally bought it. That sucks. I'm pretty sure this is the best way to farm fig trees because there are so many smaller fig trees, and the smaller the tree, the faster you can get the tree gift. The faster you can get the tree gift, the more gift milestones you can get, as well as the more bonuses that you get. So I always recommend mining down the smaller trees rather than the bigger trees, but you do you. Don't worry, there's still some very important NPCs. If you continue along this path and head over to the right, you will find the NPC Kiara. Kiara is cool. Basically all Kiara does is sell you a bunch of shards that would be incredibly hard to get otherwise. You can only buy a certain amount every day, and you can use these for attribute fusion. From what I know, this is the only way to get some of the amphibian and reptilian shards. Heading down a little bit to the right of Kiara, you will find this little witch's shack and talk to Coral. Coral, this might be one of my favorite things from this update, which is kind of dumb, but it's so funny. They finally added a use for the different, like, quote-unquote fish that you can find in the game, like Strip the Fish, like Diamond the Fish, Candy the Fish, Zoop the Fish, Party the Fish, Eon the Fish, and it's all super cool. So this is actually one of the things that you can try to prep. If you have noticed, this is also why the fish on AH on the main server are going up in price, because everybody's trying to get their hands on the fish. Some fish are actually new of this update and you can't prep, like Tree the Fish, which just drops from tree gifts, and stuff like Swamp the Fish, Bury the Fish, all that stuff, but a lot of them can be obtained. The only 4 fish associated with the game that do not count are the ones that you get from main lobby fishing. Like, you know, like you get like Egg the Fish or something for when you're fishing during Easter. Those don't apply. Those are not actual fish that work, but the rest of the ones in the game can be put in here. The only thing to note is they do get co-op soulbound, but they don't go in like it's the museum. Like, I can't put them in and out. I just kind of have to have them sit in, you know, like an e-chest while they're also in here, which is kind of annoying in my opinion. It's really cool because you get fishing experience, respiration, which is really good for surviving longer underwater, as well as Skyblock XP up to a certain point, up to your 15th fish. So if you only have 15 of the 16 and don't want to spend the money or the time to get some of the way rare ones, you don't have to. You only have to if you want to try to max out your respiration. The next NPC, and arguably the most important NPC, can be found at the middle of the massive lake, and her name is Agatha. Agatha is a member of the Starlyn sisters and puts on Agatha contests, as you can see on the right. Very similar to Jacob's contest for farming, this update honestly seems like a combination of the hunting skill, which is super cool, as well as, you know, the Jacob's contest and then the Dwarven Mines Heart of the Forest style thing. It's basically an evolution of the Skyblock updates. And basically what happens is every Skyblock day, Agatha holds a contest for everyone currently on the Moonglade Marsh. Doing various activities while on the Moonglade Marsh grants points. Reaching point brackets will earn you greater rewards, and you can see everything that can get you rewards. So literally doing everything in Galatea will get you a reward. Chopping trees, getting tree gifts every 100 logs, hunting creatures depending on the creature hunted, catching treasure, catching sea creatures, killing creatures, and then also getting berries gets you points. And you can see the different bracket rewards and the amount of points required to get these rewards. Once I got to about 100 sweep stat, I was able to easily get into the legendary bracket just by chopping down trees. And then the more that you do, as you can see, I have a ton to claim here. The more Forest Whispers you get, Forest Essence, Forage Experience, as well as Heart of the Forest XP. You also gain Agatha XP towards her milestones, which is based on how many coupons you get, which is also based on the bracket you're in. So as you level up, you unlock new items in Agatha's shop, as well as you get more Forest Whispers from every event, as well as Skyblock XP and Foraging Fortune. From the shop, which actually there are some new items that I haven't even seen yet, you can buy Agatha's Power, which allows you to get an extra percentage of sweep. Again, sweep, most important stat, extremely good. You can buy Fig Fortune. You can buy Fig Personal Best, which is also grants a ton of sweep, which is really good. I can also now buy the Mangrove Personal Best, which grants percentage sweep, which is really good. The Crow family, which gives you a more sweep when you're mining figs, as well as the Huron, which is part of the bird family, which grants more sweep when mining mangrove. A new tally associated with foraging. A new book, which is Forest Pledge 3, which just grants Foraging Fortune and Armor. A Reforged Stone, as well as a new pet called the Frog Pet. The higher tier shop, the more items you can get to eventually tier up the frog through cat. A max Agatha shop is also possibly the way you get the item to purchase the new Jade Dragon, but we don't know that yet because nobody is max Agatha shop. And for those of you wondering what I'm talking about with a Jade Dragon, I'm going to put on my cheap tuxedo and a Reaper mask because I can't get in there in my diver's armor. And I'm going to swim down until I find myself the end stone at the bottom right here. And I'm going to try to make my way down to the bottom of the tree, the base of the tree underwater. If you're wondering why, there's a little secret down here in the form of The Jade Dragon! We have finally have another dragon in the game called the Jade Dragon. It is purchasable with 500 million coins, 50 emerald blocks, a shiniest, which again, we don't know how to get, 50 fig stone, and 50 main core. So a lot of foraging has to go into this pet. And we have actually had somebody buy the pet, or maybe they didn't buy it, but the perks of the pet have been leaked, and I'll have them up on screen right now. So you get extra strength and speed on all your axes. You get plus Foraging Fortune and Sweep for every digit in your mangrove collection. You get Foraging Fortune per 5 sweep. You increase your total sweep by 0.01% for every maxed out attribute you unlock, which is insane because attributes max it. There's like 128 attributes or something. And if you own a level 200 golden dragon, you gain 20 Foraging Fortune, which is super funny. Some of the other things that they have changed with pets is they've added a new perk to the JDrag. If you own a level 200 golden dragon, gain plus 5 coins per monster kill for every other unique max combat pet that you own, which is insane because there's a lot of them. This is going to be amazing for leveling the Crown of Avarice. They've also reworked the monkey perks, and they have not touched Ocelot. So yeah, crazy. New dragon pet. This also leads me to believe that they're going to try to add a lot of dragon pets, not just the Jade Dragon, not just the Gold Dragon. Maybe we're going to have like 5, 10 dragon pets. They're all going to be best in slot. That would be really, really funny. It'd also be really funny if they all made each other stronger. So those are some of the main NPCs. There's also some less important NPCs, but still decent, such as Brian. This is the Soul Campfire test. Basically, it is based on your defense instead of your health, like in the park. It's just a new line of tallies. It gives you defense while you're burning. It's cool. More MP is always better. If you continue along the left over here, you're going to run into an NPC called Sawyer. Sawyer talks about these fortune boosters, or these different boosters that can be applied to literally everything in this update, and they're permanent, and you should always apply them. Like it's a 15 extra Foraging Fortune on the tree cap, 8 extra Foraging Fortune per piece, and it can also go on equipment. Apparently, there are up to 4 more boosters, 5 different boosters total. You can buy one from him, but 4 extra ones. I have not been able to find out what the different boosters are or how to obtain them. So if you guys do know, please comment that down below so that I can put it in my corrections. One of the last NPCs, if you continue along this way and head all the way up to the top, is going to be Rosemary, which is the Foraging Essence shop. This is where you can redeem all of your Foraging Essence, and it has some pretty good perks, such as faster traps. All stats on your axes are 2% stronger. I'm guessing this maxes out at, tier 1, but it is 10,000 forest essence, but also it's a very good perk. You can also increase your pressure resistance, which is very good for being able to get to that JDrag without having to wear a cheap tuxedo and a Reaper mask. You can upgrade your Foraging Fortune. Berry items are 2% stronger, which is just going to be salts. And then you can also increase your Foraging Wisdom, which is also very good. There's also something called Wooden Bait now, which just allows you to get a rare fish shard when you are like treasure fishing. The last NPC, if you come all the way down and fall all the way down to here, is going to be Dax. I don't remember if you actually have to talk to Dax in the tutorial for hunting. If you don't, this is where you find him. If you do, this is where you find him, is at -703 94 34, and he'll just show you, he'll tell you about traps, you just place them down. I had a trap sitting down for 22 hours here, didn't catch anything, so either I just placed it in a very bad spot, or they just don't work right now. Okay, that was a lot, but that's basically, I might have missed 1 or 2 NPCs, but that's basically all the important NPCs and everything you need to know for the update. Now, I want to go over all the different areas and how you actually find them in case you get lost. So the first area that was showcased in the trailer, but that a lot of people still had trouble finding, is going to be the underwater temple, where if you swim over here, this is where you're actually going to find it. And let me throw on my cheap tuxedo before I eventually drown. This is a puzzle that you have to solve to actually get into this area. And basically, if you talk to Tylus, he's going to say, bulb, punch, bulb, lantern, bulb. And basically, all that means is that you're going to be punching the lanterns based on how many sea pickles are next to them. So this lantern has 0 sea pickles next to it. You're going to click on that one first. There's going to be a sea lantern up to the right with 1 sea pickle next to it. You're going to click on that. Every time you successfully click on a lantern, it will give you a little audio cue, and you'll just click them all in order. You start 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then after doing that, you're able to swim into this temple. It's very easy. All you have to do is match this bottom area to the top area, make sure everything is accurate. I'm not going to do it because I already did it. And then you unlock the temple altar. Oh, and the menu is currently disabled. Well, Temple Altar, all you have to do is like donate a certain amount of enchanted logs and a certain amount of coins, and you get like some crazy buffs. There's also an NPC at the library that I didn't talk about because it basically goes over the lore of the update, and it's not super important, but basically there are these like starborn like gods that people on this island worshipped, and they gave you upgrades, and this is a part of the temple that gives you upgrades. It's like a subscription service. All you have to do to leave is just click leave, and you can swim on out. The next important area would be the panda area, which I already showed you, and then the next area is going to be different areas that are basically attached to this reef. First one is going to be this little coral area where you're able to find a lot of spikes and farm different spikes. This can be found at -631, 62, -13. The next area, the entrance is going to be -675, 64, 8. Once you swim through here, you can actually find yourself the drowned relinquary, where you can farm different mobs called the hydrosphere, but basically they are tide tots. The tide tots, when you kill them, instead of actually trapping, like you can trap them for shards, but you can also kill them and they drop gill membranes, for those of you wondering how to get gill membrane. If you head over this way where there are magma blocks, you actually, as long as you don't get stuck, can swim all the way around, all the way up to here to find this little lava area, which it will let you TP if you get high enough, where you can find the mob called the Surf Strider. Again, these can be killed. They do drop gill membranes, and they can also be trapped for, or they can be hunted for different shards. There's also an area called like the Stray area. It's where you find chills. All you have to do is run off the top when you do warp Galatea, run back here, and the entrance is going to be at -600, 90, -4, and you can find chill shots, and you can kill them. Again, there is a bestiary for them, or you can hunt them and get the different shards that they drop. The new mobs in the game are going to be, there's some in fishing, including one with lava fishing, which is what surf striders are considered, as well as 3 in water fishing called Ents, Tad Gang, as well as Wet Wings. And there's also 2 new Galatea mobs called Chills, which is the area we're in right now, and Tide Tots, which was the drowned relinquary, which I just showed you before. Chill Blades are actually super cool because they have a lot of good drops. Namely, they drop the Runeblade Talisman, which just lets you deal more damage on the island, Arcane, which lets you deal more damage with axes, as well as the book Stealth in case you don't want to craft it. They've also done a super cool system too. So if someone has a black hole down and you try to run by and just steal their kill, you can't actually kill a monster with a pocket black hole next to it. The other thing that they did is if you happen to have your sharpened hunt axe out, you hit it once, nobody else can come by and steal your kill because you're hunting the monster with the hunt axe. You can't kill it. I just thought that those were 2 really cool things that they added. This area over to the right with Martin is actually where you're supposed to be catching the flex bone. It's also the best place to treasure fish because he says that no sea creatures can be caught here. But you know, this is alpha, sea creatures can be caught here, and I'm pretty sure flex bones are disabled. Now to go over the new collections. There are 6 of them, I believe. The first one being Fig Logs. Fig Logs is going to have something new called Scaffolding. Now, I think this is completely useless. I never actually use this at all and probably won't ever use this unless I ever start mining down like the really big trees. Because all it does is it just, you know, you just go up. But you can also just jump or AOTV up. So I don't actually use it. But the main part of this collection that matters is the Fig Hue, the upgrade to the Fig Hue called the Figstone Splitter, which is, when it is maxed of sweep, it maxed out at 44 sweep, is best in slot axe over Treecapitator because it doesn't insta-mine the logs, but I'm pretty sure it's still better than using a Treecapitator. And contrary to popular belief, you can also throw the Figstone Splitter because remember when we talked to Swoop, he said all axes can be thrown, not just the Treecapitator. You can also craft the Sparrow here, which just grants Fig Fortune for every digit in your Fig Log collection. This is also a bird family, and you'll notice that all the bird families either give sweep or fortune for different foraging things. And then also the upgrade to the canopy armor that you're wearing right now, the Fig Armor, which is best in slot as of right now for foraging. It doubles the amount of sweep from your armor as well as gives you 1 slot for citrine gemstones. So no, citrine gemstones are not useless for the update. They still are very useful. You'll need 4. You'll need 6 total. 2 for the axe, 4 for the armor. So everybody's saying that it's not useless. I don't know what to tell you. There's also going to be a second island that's probably going to have way stronger items that's going to need citrine gemstones. So just be aware of that. And lastly, when you max it out, it gives you +1 foraging level cap. So as of right now, you can actually only get to foraging 54. Because that's all that is added with the update. Eventually, when we get the second island or the third island, they're probably going to add the rest of the foraging levels for foraging 60. But in order to get the higher foraging levels, what you need to do is you need to max out different collections. The second collection is going to be the Tender Wood collection. Tender Wood is actually going to be a rare drop from mining fig trees, and you can only get these from tree gifts. This collection is going to consist of the upgrades to the hunt traps just to make hunting faster, as well as fish bowls, which is a new accessory line that doubles the odds of fishing a rare shard, which is really good for treasure fishing. The next collection is going to be Mangrove, which again comes from mangrove trees. Mangrove is a cool collection because it gives a lot of the equipment, which all gives +1 sweep each. It also gives the Mangrove Gem Reforge, which just gives extra foraging fortune, which is always good. The bird for this collection is going to be the Seagull, which gives you Mangrove Fortune for every digit of your Mangrove log collection. And at the end, you do get +1 foraging level cap. The rare drop from mangrove trees, kind of like how Tenderwood is dropped from fig, is going to be the Vine Sap collection. The Vine Sap collection is actually a very important collection because it is used in a lot of crafting recipes for upgrading your axe, the full swipe axe, I like to call it, as well as the lassos, which are really, really good as you level them up. The last two collections, one is the Lumisquids collection, which these are all just different salts that you just eat and then you kill mobs, you chance of getting the shard. There's nothing really crazy here, really exciting here. As well as the Sea Pickle, or they're actually called Sea Lumi collection, and this is where you're going to get the stuff that's going to help you survive underwater better. They've actually moved the diver's armor here and changed the crafting recipe for it. But if you have diver's armor already, you don't even have to start with the first armor set. You can just move straight to diver's armor. There's also a new talisman line, which gives you pressure resistance, which is really, really good for swimming deep down into that pond, as well as this is where you get the upgrades to the fishing nets. As I've mentioned before, it's impossible to get flex bones right now, so we can't actually upgrade the nets yet. But the upgraded fishing nets are definitely awesome. There also is the upgrade to the diver armor called the Abyssal armor, which costs a lot of gill membranes, which isn't that hard to get, but a lot of enchanted sea lumies is kind of annoying to farm manually. They do drop from some of the sea creatures that you can fish up on Galatea, but fishing on Galatea sucks. You want to know why it sucks? Because you can only kill mobs with an axe. You can't hype them. I don't know. I don't like it. Maybe somebody will find a meta. I don't personally like that. Alright, boys. I know that's a lot of information. I'm trying to give you the most concise but also best in-depth information about the update so you know everything. There's only a few more things to go over, so stay with me. One of the things that you'll find on the island that you'll see from the sky is the beacon. You talk to Boris. Boris will tell you about the beacon. The beacon is very simple. All you have to do is tune the frequency and you get a bonus. To tune the frequency, you just have to match the speed to each other. Once you do that, you also have to match the color. So actually, it seems like this is going too fast, so I'm going to lower it. I'm going to find oh, I passed it. There's the green color. And then I just have to find the right pitch, which you don't even really have to listen to it. You do have to get them going at the same time, though, so I can actually just speed that up until I eventually catch up. And now they should be going at the same speed. There we go. And once you do that, you will be rewarded with an enchanted fig log, an enchanted mangrove log. You also have a chance of getting a shard, I believe. You can also upgrade the signal strength. We don't know how to get the signal enhancer, so if you do figure that out, please comment that down below so that we know. And then I believe the more people that do this on the server, the more bonuses that everybody gets. And now I said I was going to go over this before, but I never actually did. There are some really, really good Heart of the Forest perks. Unfortunately, a lot of them come later in the Heart of the Forest, which makes sense. And I'm guessing some good ones come from the center of the forest, but nobody's tier 5 yet, or at least I haven't seen anybody tier 5 yet, so I don't know what those perks are. The first two abilities that you get are actually pretty bad. One is damage boost, and one is no sweep penalty for throwing your axe, which is decent, but I don't think any of the ones on the right side are very good. Like, speed doesn't matter. This doesn't matter. Really, the only reason why I went to the left side is for the Luck of the Forest, because you get up to 20% more loot from tree gifts. And tree gifts are really where you're going to spend a lot of your time grinding, because it's the only way, other than through Agatha's contest, to grind Heart of the Forest XP, as well as Forest Whispers. But some of the better perks are going to be Maniac Slicer. I think it's going to be absolutely insane for foraging. More mana, more sweep. It's going to be really, really good. Forest Strength is going to be nuts, because you get up to 5%. When this is max, you get up to 5% of strength as Foraging Fortune and Sweep. for the record, I was at like, I spec'd into strength, not even like really specking into it. This would give me 78 sweep. Right now, I feel like I'm pretty good on sweep, and I've been grinding sweep out, like a lot of sweep. I'm at 153. That would be 50% more sweep from what I have right now. That's nuts. I'd be able to like 2-tap trees, maybe even 1-tap trees. It's crazy. Some of the other good perks are, I think Foraging Madness is pretty good. Just 10 base sweep is hard to come by. I think Lottery is really good. I don't think it's going to be possible to get both Forest Strength and Forest Speed, but this is basically the same thing, but for speed. The reason why Strength is going to be better is because it's uncapped, speed is capped. But Maniac Slicer is also the best thing. So maybe the way to go is go up and then this way. Ricochet is actually insane. Your axe has a chance to bounce to a nearby tree is freaking nuts. Half full and half empty give a lot of sweep and are balanced together. So I'm assuming I don't know if you're going to be able to get both or not, but both are very good. Homing axe is also just crazy. Just to think, like, you can just jump around and just spam right-click your axe to home it onto different trees. It's actually super, super cool. And then there's some other ones like Foraging Wisdom, more combat stats, more Syphon Luck, stuff like that. But those are some of the best perks that I have seen. For those of you that are curious, if you're wondering what Syphon actually does, all it does is when you siphon a shard, so when it's in your hunting box and you're like siphoning or you're max siphoning, it just increases the odds of getting an extra shard. That's all it does. It's nothing crazy, but it is better and will speed up getting all of the shards. Alright, the only other things I really want to mention is they did change some of the names of the mobs. The Watcher is now the Seer. I just thought that'd be cool to mention. And I will also have up on screen right now probably a picture of the new Kudra loot pool. Because as they said before, they are going to change the Kudra loot pool because, you know, the way they're changing the whole shard attribute system. There are still some shards that can only be gotten from Kudra, so Kudra isn't dead. Kudra isn't dead, but it probably isn't as good as it was before. Now, from what we've seen from players testing is the guaranteed drops are still 3 Kudra Teeth, 2,000 Crimson Essence, 2,400 with Kudra Pet, it was 1,600 before, 3 Kraken Shards, which is also it used to be Vitality. Not guaranteed, but still possible, is 1 armor piece between Crimson Hollow, Aurora, etc. that can come up to 10 starred. Probably can't come prestige, but up to 10 stars, so that when you salvage them, you actually get more Crimson Essence. You can still get attribute shards. You have a chance to roll for a bonus 2,000 essence. There are still attribute wheels, however, they don't re-roll the shards on your armor anymore. I think they re-roll like the shards inside your Kudra chest, so you can use like a Kismet and Wheels of Fate on the Kudra chest now, which is kind of crazy. You can also still get Kudra cores, the Hollow Wand and the Aurora Staff, and then as well as the different books that Kudra offers. But now you can roll for multiple books. I believe you can also roll for Anake Feathers. I'm not positive, but there is a way to gain Anake Feathers outside of this update, and this is something that I should have included that I probably will actually cut and include over when I was talking about reforging armor. But yeah, boys, that'll do it for me. That is everything that I've been able to discover and find out about the update. Hopefully, this was all-encompassing and also easy to digest. Again, if you have questions, feel free to comment them down below. Corrections, or, you know, if things change on alpha, I'll probably make another video if there's enough changes. Or if stuff gets undisabled, or they just change from alpha to coming to main, I'll end up making another video. But that is the first island of the Foraging update. That is the first island of Galatea. And I'm hoping the second island is just that much better. My final thoughts are that I'm extremely happy for the hunting system. I love the attribute changes. The foraging seems kind of lackluster. For people that love foraging, I actually really like the system a lot. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. I think grinding when it releases is going to be awesome. I'm going to try to get Heart of the Forest 7 as soon as possible. I'll be live doing that, so check out the stream at twitch.tv/Yadi, especially when the update comes out. Overall, I'm happy with it. I understand why some people might be upset, but I think you got to take the good with the bad and just realize that updates are going to be faster now, better, newer version of Minecraft. Look to the future because it's going to be awesome. Anyways, have a great rest of your day. Peace.